Hey, what up? It's another newsletter. That's how we're framing it. For Enduro Ranch, Enduro Ranch lines. Still got the Christmas things. Don't worry. I was just kind of blocking them. So, yeah, a little caffeine there, maybe some water. I should have done this before we went live, right? Nonetheless, we are somewhat prepared. We are prepared. So, yeah, so another big week around here. We're again working on the Trailheads program, which is going to really change the way people engage with coming out to ride, right? So you'll buy a pass, you'll have someone at the trailhead every weekend this year. Someone's going to be out there from Enduro Ranch, and the more people we have, the more skill levels we'll have, and then we'll cap it, right? So I think it's probably worth saying that the goal is not to get a bazillion people out there, right? There's so many trails and so many riders in this country. You could have a decent business without trying to over popularize everything. And in fact, the trying to not over popularize everything has been what's made this whole process super difficult, or at least more challenging, I should say. So you'll sign up for a membership, and you have to be a member to get into the site to see all the locations, because otherwise someone could really just go in and be like, oh, look at all these locations. It's a perfect map. And you know what? We got into this sport 10 years ago or so. I got back into it. One of the biggest problems was it was really hard to find the information on where to ride. But that was pre-Coatrex. All Trails was like the only thing. And it was just trying to find dirt bike stuff in All Trails was a little dodgy at that point. And yeah, there just wasn't a lot. It really was difficult to find. You'd be scraping through the forums. And now the thing is that you can find the trails. You can download Coatrex, which is this is just for Colorado, of course. But you know, you still have an issue with where do I go? Where do I ride? Like you can get to the parking lot. I mean, I think if you were to compare what we do, like one time we asked at Peach Valley, we said, okay, like, you know, we're getting some pushback from locals, right? Locals. This is a great event, by the way. If you guys in the Colorado area or whatever, you want to come do something nuts, that's pretty damn cool. And it was just such a cool event. Guy did a great job of setting it all up. But anyway, locals were, you know, kind of pushing back a little bit, even though locals were doing the guiding, like hardcore locals. You know, some of the people think that we're just out there trying to, you know, sell out. Here, this looks like it's got stuff on it. Sell out their scene and make their areas super popular. And so we have a pretty good contingency of people going out to Peach Valley every year. So we run kids camps, we do a spring break ride, and then we do 2 or 3 in the summer, and then we do adult clinics. We have the Cody Webb Clinic out there. We'll probably do Nick Clare out there. We did Rich Larson on the Front Range. We may do his on the Western Slope this year. But in any event, like we had a pretty good contingent of people going out there. And so I asked the BLM at one point, I just said, you know, given the number of people that we're bringing out there per year, how does that compare as an overall percentage? And their comment was less than 2%, maybe not even 1%. So that gives you an idea of how small of an impact we really have out there. I mean, you come up to Rampart on a given weekend and you see 2 of our guides with 5 or 6 riders in a group. It seems like we're taking over the trails, but I guarantee you, we're the ones that are pulling off to the side, giving you room or giving you hand signals, 5, 4, 3, whatever, 1. They're going to be the ones doing that. We're not the ones crashing off the trail and blowing by. You know, well, actually, I came off the trail the other day because I saw some guy and just wasn't having it right off a single track. He's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really just standing here. I just didn't feel like holding on to the bike." But yeah, so I mean, Enduro Ranch is not out there totally blowing out your trail systems, right? And I think at the end of the day, the dog needs to go out. You have to, you know, really think about, the people that we're bringing out there and having them be introduced to an area with some supervision and with some guidance. And people that come out, they're required as part of their agreement with us to pick up trash while we're out there. When's the last time you picked up a piece of trash in the parking lot? You should be doing that every time you get up there and you're in the parking lot looking around, like, and the thing is, a lot of the trash that's out there isn't even something that you throw out, right? Or someone has purposely been like, oh, this place sucks. And they, a lot of times, okay, the beer cans and but the water bottles, there's two things up there all the time. Well, the Forest Service says three. And I mostly see two because we don't do the same kind of cleanup they do. But one, beer cans, two, water bottles, and three, human, like people using the bathroom or they shouldn't. You're supposed to go 200 feet away from a creek or water source, by the way, instead of towards it. So if you see a creek, don't be like, great place, go the opposite direction, go up the hill a little bit and then take a leak. But, a lot of the trash that you see out there is inadvertent. The beer cans, I whatever, dudes, just, but it, and it's not the hard enduro folks that are really out there doing that stuff, but the water bottles, we're all guilty. People like think that they're going to need a water bottle instead of a hydration pack. They put it in there, they go out, and the next thing you know, you're riding down the trail. Now, I have to say that the water bottles are handy. The fact that you can find one pretty quickly is scary, but if you run out of gas, it does come in handy to throw to be able to dry it out and filter gas from one bike to another. But nonetheless, most of the times those things are just falling out, right? And the same thing in the parking lot. When people get out of their car, they don't realize it. Some trash falls out. It comes off of the floor, comes out of their door panel, blows in from the back, whatever it is, and then the trash is there. But as a responsible rider, you could be picking that stuff up, right? If you see something like the other day, I was riding down the trail and I came around. It was literally like a javelin post, like pretty much like this sticking out, right? Like, I came around the corner. It was just this huge spiking thing that was going to hit, that someone could hit. So you stop and you move that stuff, right? Like sometimes when there's logs down and they aren't really impeding anything and they're just kind of on the side, it's fun to leave. But man, if you see something that you think is going to skewer someone, just take 2 minutes, stop, fix it. What are your buddies going to think, that they've totally blown you out and you're afraid that, I get it. You get into the flow. You don't want to stop. That's another thing. And so that is probably one of the main benefits of riding with Enduro Ranch in that sense is, at least in the Trailheads program. So getting back to that, we're trying to make it more exclusive. And by doing that, trying to make it so you don't even get to see all the websites when you opt in. If you go on the page, you can browse all the different sites, but we aren't going to be giving map pins. We aren't going to be giving locations. We're just going to kind of preview what that location offers. And then if you become a member, it kind of just helps keep things moving, but it also allows you access to the schedule of all the events and where they're happening, right? And then you can start to get a closer look. So if you become a member, you could be like, wow, I'd like to ride there. I'd like to ride there. I'd like, and we have, we have probably close to, we have well over 20 trailheads, but there's going to be 32 rides this year between April and October. And then we'll probably supplement in the off season. Like we were out coaching this weekend. John had a young kid out at Thunder Valley. She was awesome. First time ever. Ian says conditions have come back on the western slope. They're, of course, snowy up here, but they'll be good. So we're still going out. But for the most part, as soon as April hits, you could ride every weekend with Enduro Ranch all the way through October and ride at least 12 completely different locations. We're permitted down the Front Range and then across the the central section of the state, clear out to Lake City, and then up the Uncompahgre Plateau all the way up into um, Grand Junction, Fruita, Rabbit Valley, and all that stuff. So, in terms of the diversity and variety of the terrain, if you don't know where to go, you don't want to spend all your time looking through forums, or you don't want any what did Ian call it, blind date trail meetups, right? This is what we do, right? So it's been a real challenge because the technical aspect of making it so that you become a member and you can browse everything, but if you go to book it, you got to have a pass, and we don't give you a trailhead pin for the actual pin for the place until you have a pass, because different than Cotrex or some of the other things, Wikiloc or anything like that, we really kind of don't want a bunch of people showing up at those trailheads. We tend to go places. You notice when you ride with us, we don't go to the main lots, hardly ever, right? It's just the Forest Service doesn't want more people down there. It's more likely to have accidents. Almost every head-on I hear about at Rampart anyway is always somewhere towards the front. So less people, better trail conditions, and just generally dispersing, the number of people that come out there. We don't do holiday weekends. We would consider it for a private deal, but we don't book people on holiday weekends just because there's already enough people. 4th of July is a disaster, but the weekend before and after, you come ride with us. We'll have a place to ourselves. So anyway, that's making for some particular challenges, right? Like it's to get all the logistics of that working, and then also of all the systems that we've tried over and over, the big thing is how do you manage the locations of things? That's been a real challenge, and so we think we've got that dialed in, and it'll be pretty cool, right? You'll sit there, you'll browse, you'll be like, oh, I want to hit this one, book, and then you can just book it, right? And then you can scroll some more. You can go back to browsing. You scroll some more and be like, oh man, I'd love to ride Delta. Oh man, I'd love to ride Silverjack. And all the other thing that's proving to be pretty intense is the ranking system. So you will be vetted when you ride. And I think that's not to put people off, but what it is trying to do is to make sure that, because everybody's an intermediate, as I've said many times, like if you come out, you get a ride with us, but you're not going to be with what we want to avoid are people that are putting themselves into the wrong positions, and then the whole group is having that like suffers from that, right? The whole group is like, put at risk or waiting or whatever. So, and then once you ride with us a couple times, that you like, we figure it out. We talked about it we were chatting last night about this, and essentially there's people that could come through the level up program and they may be level 2, but they could ride a level 4 trail. They just cobble their way through it. They kind of go with the momentum is your friend thing, as opposed to the Rich Larson one, which is lack of momentum exposes flaws in your technique. So he approaches things usually from a technique standpoint, and this is, we're trying to kind of keep it so that, well, I guess really, as long as you can get through it, you can get through it. It doesn't really matter how great you look good. That's not our point. The point is, like, don't claim you're an advanced rider and then we go out to Peach Valley and you're like struggling, right? Like doesn't make anybody happy like that. And that said, we have every level, right? So we have 5 levels of rider. Cody Webb is a 5, and a beginner or novice rider that's out there riding and could maybe even enter an enduro race if they had to, but they're competent riders. That would be level 1, right? Level 2 can do most things out there, right? Level 2 rider can do almost anything out there and cobble through it. And level 3 starts to do that with proficiency, and then level 4 does it with style, and level 5 does it with style and speed. Definitely speed and total proficiency, right? Like those guys aren't going out to Grinding Stone or doing Erzberg or whatever because they're hacking. All right, can you imagine doing Red Bull Romaniacs? Like, especially the street course, and right, yeah, that's tough. That's total proficiency. So anyway, yeah, and I want to plug again the Grinding Stone Enduro. If you're bored and sitting around, you must be, because you're watching this clear on in as far, and it's already 15 minutes. Holy cow. Sheesh. Well, anyway, it's important. It's important message to get out there of how we're working with this and how we're trying to make it work. We're trying to make it so you can have your best ride, so you can come out and ride your potential. Our guides, most likely that you're not going to be stuck to the rear tire of our guides pushing them. And you'll get to ride your own ride. And as long as you're doing your best and riding responsibility and having a good time, then that's awesome, right? And yeah, we're going to have groups where there's some people that are faster than others and more skilled than others. But, the beauty is you're going to be out with people that their bikes are prepared. They've got hydration packs. They're fit enough to ride. And you can just ride. You can go ride your best ride. You want a 60-mile day of hard enduro? Sweet. We got it, right? You want a flowy cruiser day with lots of breaks and lots of scenery? Sweet. We got it, right? You can do those. That's all part of the process of vetting, like trying to put you with like-minded people. You got someone that you want to come with you, but you guys have totally different riding speeds. Great. They go in the L2 group. You go in the L3 group, whatever, L1, right? Or T1. Actually, it'll be T for Trailhead. So anyway, that's that. So, yeah, so that's the reason for the exclusivity is twofold, right? Keep it so that you have your best ride, and two, don't just slut out the entire trail system for profit, because even if this business becomes extremely profitable, it ain't a cash cow. That's why no one does this stuff, right? It's so hard to offer what we offer at a reasonable rate, right? So, okay, let's talk Supercross just real quick, if anybody wants to. Tomac wins again. Yeah. But apparently he really didn't realize Hunter was right behind him. He thought Roxon was still in second place. So I'm sure they had a conversation with the guys about the pit board messaging. Yeah, but he was totally blown away when he found out Hunter was there. He said he jumped out of his shorts or something like that. When he got off the bike, he was talking. So another good run for Tomac. KTM did well. Prado didn't quite show up in the same way that he was in the past, where he did it round one. But again, he was 26 seconds off at the end. And if you look at times from these guys, last couple of years, Tomac has been up there with Jet and Chase. I thought it was cool, though. I think we get together to watch it. So if you're in the Denver area, we should go have a watch party at some point this year. And Chase owned it, though, at the end. He's like, kids, I just made a mistake. Don't do that at home. Like, don't jump the gun. And so he ran into the gate, and that was I think he was relegated to like fourth or fifth. Still a great ride and a good comeback. But yeah, and then Tomac he got out front and kept going. Roxon unfortunately faded backwards, but if I'm another racer, that's good to know, because that's kind of become the routine. And I think a lot of people, all my buddies, want Roxon to win another championship, but I don't know. That's rough. So Mookie riding with like a broken, I don't even remember what his shoulder was dislocated and he had like a fractured rib or something. He was still racing. That was nuts. I don't even know what he was doing. The other big highlight is there's a video link in the description of Hymas, and you've probably seen it, but literally he goes, so he's in the 250 class, right? And he's an awesome rider, right? He really, especially, we'll see how he does this year. I thought after last year he was going to come through this year, or at some point last year, but I think he got injured. But anyway, he goes, nah, and he's in a triple, and then when he realizes the bike's going to go over, you can see him with his left foot. He clicks 2 gears and then is winding it up. Click, click, and then winds it to get the rear wheel to spin, because he ran out of RPMs. He would have run out of RPMs with the lower gear, and then he drops the rear end down. At least didn't go over. It didn't exactly go womp, but it just kept it from going over. That was a cool shot. A couple people pointed that out. Yeah, and then I think the other thing that I just is probably old news for some of you guys is the KTM is going to eliminate the PDS as of 2027. In some dealerships, by the way, right now I know some of the bikes, KTM bikes, are 0% financing. That goes to the end of February, so that might be something you want to look at. And yeah, other than that, we'll try and get you some more updates as they come for the Trailheads program. Yeah, anybody wants to know more about it directly, we can get you in. I'd love to. We're trying to make it reasonably priced, but it's a bit for, this isn't for the DIY person that goes out and do like, this isn't for people that have riding buddies that just want to go pioneer stuff themselves and don't mind doing that. This is for people that don't want to take the time every time they come up to an intersection to have someone pull out a phone and be like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it's this way. No, I'm pretty confident. Like that. That that's this, what we want is bump and run, right? Like, you good? I'm good. I'm gone. Then it just keeps going, right? Even if, yeah. So anyway, all right, that's going to do it for today. Maybe next time I'll announce that we're going to do a live stream ahead of time. That would be miraculous. But until then, ciao.